If you just moved to the United States, one of the first things you'll hear is that you need a bank account. What nobody tells you is that most banks will turn you away for reasons that have nothing to do with your creditworthiness, your income, or your character, and that the system was genuinely not designed with you in mind. This video is the one I wish existed when most immigrants arrived. By the end of it, you'll know exactly which accounts you can open, what documents you actually need, which banks will work with you, and the number at the end that explains why getting this right as early as possible is one of the most important financial decisions you'll make in this country. Let's start with the two things that block most immigrants from opening a standard bank account. The first is identification. Most U.S. banks require a Social Security number, also called an SSN, to open an account. If you're on a work visa, a student visa, or are in the process of getting your documentation in order, you may not have one yet. The second is banking history. Many banks run your name through a system called ChexSystems, a database that tracks overdrafts, unpaid fees, and account closures. If you're new to the U.S., you have no ChexSystems history at all, which some banks treat as a red flag. Not because you did anything wrong, but because you simply don't exist in their system yet. Neither of these is actually a dead end. There are real, legitimate pathways to banking in the U.S., regardless of where you are in the immigration process, and understanding which path fits your situation is what this video is about. The first option is opening an account with an individual taxpayer identification number, also called an ITIN. An ITIN is issued by the IRS to people who have a tax filing obligation in the United States but are not eligible for a Social Security number. Many banks, including several major ones, will accept an ITIN as a substitute for an SSN when opening a checking or savings account. Banks that have historically been known for ITIN-friendly account opening include Wells Fargo, Citibank, and Bank of America, though policies vary by branch and can change. Always call ahead and ask specifically whether they accept ITIN for account opening before walking in. To get an ITIN, you'll need to file Form W-7 with the IRS along with proof of identity and foreign status, typically a valid passport. Processing times vary, but generally run several weeks. If you need to file taxes before your ITIN arrives, you can apply at the same time as your tax return. The second option is a bank account that accepts a foreign passport and a foreign address as the primary identification, without requiring an SSN or ITIN at all. These exist, and they're more common than most immigrants realize. Several large banks, including Citibank, have international or global banking programs specifically designed for people who are new to the country or maintain ties to another country. Some credit unions, particularly those tied to immigrant communities or specific ethnic groups, are also more flexible on documentation requirements. It's worth researching credit unions in your area that serve your specific community. Many were founded exactly for this purpose. The third option is an online bank or fintech account. In recent years, a number of online-only banks and financial technology companies have significantly lower documentation requirements than traditional brick-and-mortar banks. Some accept a passport and a U.S. address, even a temporary one, to open an account with no SSN required. Accounts like these typically offer a debit card, the ability to receive direct deposits, and basic spending features. They may not offer all the features of a full traditional bank account, but they're a legitimate starting point that gets you into the financial system immediately. The fourth option is a second chance checking account. These are accounts specifically designed for people who have been denied at traditional banks, either because of a ChexSystems record or because they're new to the country with no U.S. banking history. Several major banks and credit unions offer these, including some branches of Wells Fargo and Bank of America. Second chance accounts often come with monthly fees and some limitations on features, but they serve as a bridge, a way to build a track record with a financial institution so that after a period of responsible use, you can upgrade to a standard account. Now, let's talk about what you actually need to bring to any account opening, because being prepared is the difference between walking out with an account and walking out empty-handed. At a minimum, bring your passport, valid, unexpired, with the photo page clearly visible. Bring whatever immigration documentation you have, a visa, an 1894 form, a work permit, or a green card if you have one. Bring a utility bill, a lease agreement, or any piece of official mail that shows a U.S. address. If you have an ITIN, bring the letter from the IRS confirming it. The more documentation you bring, the less room there is for a branch employee to turn you away on the grounds of insufficient verification. Once you have a bank account, the next critical step is starting to build a U.S. credit history. This matters enormously because in the United States, your credit score affects not just loans and credit cards, but apartment applications, utility deposits, and in some cases, even employment background checks. As a new arrival, you have no U.S. credit history, which means your credit score effectively doesn't exist, and that invisibility has real financial consequences. The fastest legitimate path to building credit from scratch is a secured credit card. A secured card works like a regular credit card, except that you put down a cash deposit, typically $200 to $500, which becomes your credit limit. You use the card for small purchases and pay the balance in full every month. After 6 to 12 months of on-time payments, most issuers will either upgrade you to a regular unsecured card or you'll have enough history to apply for one elsewhere. The deposit is not a fee. You get it back when you close or upgrade the account. It's simply collateral while you're establishing trust with the credit system. Some banks offer secured cards specifically for immigrants and people with no credit history. Discover and Capital One have historically been among the more accessible options for first-time credit builders with limited U.S. history. Here's the number I promised you. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau estimates that being unbanked, meaning having no bank account at all, costs the average American household over $2,400 a year in fees alone. Check cashing fees, money order fees, prepaid card reload fees, bill payment fees. Every financial transaction costs more when you're outside the banking system because you're paying someone else to do what a bank account does for free. Over 5 years, that's over $12,000. Over 10 years, it's $24,000 or more. Money paid purely because of a lack of access to a basic financial product that most people take for granted. Getting a bank account isn't just convenient. It's one of the single highest return financial decisions a new arrival can make. The U.S. banking system wasn't built for people arriving from somewhere else, but there are real pathways into it, and knowing which one fits your situation means the difference between being inside the system building credit and wealth or standing outside it paying a premium for the privilege of being excluded. If this video helped you understand something the system never bothered to explain, pass it on to someone who needs it. New videos dropping regularly. See you in the next one.